Sheila Cuevas was found unresponsive on her apartment floor. The dog was put down. The call sounded like a tragic accident. But toxicology showed sedatives and injuries no animal could cause, and a dozen women would soon say the same thing. This wasn't an isolated moment. Subscribe to follow every twist as we trace how a public persona hid a deadly private pattern. A Fort Worth 911 dispatcher answers a call from a man in genuine panic. He says his girlfriend has just been attacked by their family dog and needs help immediately. Police and paramedics arrive within minutes and find a woman unresponsive on the apartment floor. Animal control takes the dog into custody and, under standard protocol, euthanizes it shortly after. For a few hours, that's the story. A tragic accident, nothing more. But medical examiners don't work from what they're told. They work from evidence. And the toxicology results were about to raise a question no dog attack could answer. Online, he was Cash Cartier, a financial mentor with nearly 100,000 followers. In real life, his name was Kaleb Mickens. His platform, I Am Academy, earned him a commission for every recruit, and at its peak, brought in roughly $20,000 a week. What his followers never saw was buried in 2011 California court records, an arrest and prison sentence for aggravated assault. After his release, Mickens didn't abandon that need for control. He rebuilt it behind a camera, trading a street reputation for an online one that almost nobody thought to question. Sheila Cuevas didn't match the profile Mickens usually targeted. She'd graduated with honors, built a stable career, and had savings and a close family of her own. He used the same persuasion tactics on her that had worked on strangers, and over time, she trusted him with her money. It moved through his ventures with little transparency. As his business began attracting regulatory scrutiny and his income shrank, that pressure didn't stay contained to his finances. It started reshaping the relationship at home, one closed door at a time. It didn't look like shouting. It looked like fewer calls to family, quieter check-ins with friends, and a growing habit of accounting for where she'd been and when she'd be home. By the time that pattern was fully set, leaving wasn't simple. Her savings, the thing that would have made an exit possible, were already tied up in his business. Her outside support, the people who might have helped her leave, had been slowly cut away. Into that closed environment, an outside warning was about to arrive. The message came through Instagram from Carrie, Mickens' former wife, living thousands of miles away in Scotland. She described a pattern she said she'd lived through herself: isolation, then control, then intimidation, and urged Sheila to leave while she still could. It went unanswered. By then, Mickens controlled much of what information reached Sheila, and he framed the warning as coming from a bitter ex. In spring 2023, after private warnings failed, Carrie took her account public, and she wasn't the only one about to come forward. Within days, 12 women altogether had described strikingly similar experiences. Financial control first, then isolation, then physical intimidation, despite living in different cities and, in many cases, never having met. That raised an obvious question. If this many accounts lined up, why was Mickens still free? The answer was in Dallas County records. One woman, Darian, had already reported an assault and helped build a case against him months earlier. But the courtroom outcome for that case would end up shaping everything that followed. In court, supporters testified to Mickens' character, describing a respected mentor who'd made a mistake under stress. The judge accepted it. Instead of prison, Mickens received probation and anger management classes, a lenient outcome for a documented case of violence. He didn't just avoid consequences. He learned the system would let him go even with evidence in hand. When the 12 women's accounts went public soon after, his business collapsed, and with less to protect publicly, he tightened his grip on the one relationship still within reach. Mickens shifted from public blame to private apology, and Sheila returned to the apartment. Without an image left to maintain, the isolation that followed was close to total. On October 8, 2023, he called 911 again, this time reporting Sheila wasn't breathing and blaming the dog once more. But toxicology results showed a high concentration of sedatives in her system, and medical examiners documented injuries no animal attack could explain. The account that was supposed to close the case within hours was about to reopen it entirely. As investigators built the homicide case tied to Sheila's death, the earlier accounts from the other women became part of the same picture. Separate charges tied to different relationships moved through Dallas and Tarrant counties, described the same behavior surfacing again and again over more than a decade. In April 2026, Mickens pleaded guilty to first-degree aggravated assault, family violence, and Sheila's death. The sentence that followed would finally account for a pattern that had gone unanswered for years. Mickens was sentenced to 40 years for Sheila's death, plus 20 years for a probation revocation, and 15 years for a separate aggravated assault in Dallas County. In court, Sheila's brother told him directly, "There can be no justice that brings her back, but there can be accountability, and he deserved this." What makes this case difficult isn't just what happened that October morning, it's how many earlier moments, a warning, a courtroom, 12 separate accounts, might have stopped it first.